Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean LaFlock. I'm here with Scotty Hagnes. This is Conversations, Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity. Scotty, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Going good.
Good. This is
How about you?
episode 80 right here, Scott.
8-0. Wow.
80. And so this will be the end of the Open, and we have some other recorded episodes as well that we'll release now that the Open is over. But I think we've recorded like 84, 85, but this is number 80 that we're going to be releasing.
Wow.
I know. We've been doing this for a little while.
It's a while, yeah.
This for a
Definitely
little while.
routine.
Yeah, man, definitely part of the routine, and I think that's a testament to everybody out there. Like, I remember when we first started doing the episodes, you're like, oh, well, I guess we'll try to figure this out. But I definitely credit you because there's days where I'm like, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. What do you have to talk about? And sure enough, you're like, are we talking today? I go, well, we'll talk today. So I guess we hold each other accountable.
Yeah, one or the other of us always. Yeah.
Yep. So we have to tie up the Open here with a bow and a little bit of a curveball thrown at us where they made the community choose what the workout was going to be. We were, you had thought that, hey, we haven't seen the repeat workout yet. Are we going to see that repeat workout? We both had said thrusters and chest to bar, but I thought maybe there was a little bit of some kind of weird other curveball, but the curveball was that the community was going to choose the workout. So the three choices that we had were 11.6, which was the finale of the first year of the CrossFit Open. Then we had the overhead squat chest to bar, which I believe was is that 2013? No, 14.2.
14. Yeah,
14.2, which was also a repeat the following year too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the dreaded one, which was the 15-15 4-minute countdown clock. And if you got to the 4 minutes, you could repeat it again, which I think was the worst of the three. And I think it got the lowest.
The community,
total
I think it was like 7% or something.
Yeah, no one wanted to see that workout. I think out of everybody who's ever done that workout, I don't think anybody was like, oh, that was a good one. Like, not even close. So I personally wanted the overhead squat chest to bar workout. But because who likes thrusters, number one, but number two, I think it led to a lot more strategy involved, that kind of stuff, and it's a longer workout. So, but we did not get that. We got the 7-minute AMRAP 3-3-6-6-9-9, and we haven't seen this since 2012.
Yeah, it was the repeat that year, the first repeat there was.
This is a three-peat, this one.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen one for 3 times, right?
Correct.
I'm suspecting now a vast majority of the community hasn't done it. I mean, obviously there's OGs,
Yeah, and I think that
we've both done it a few times, but
honestly, I think a lot of people. I was as soon as the choices came out, I thought this was going to be the one, just because no one had done it before. Or not as many people had done it before. I remember the first Open, we had 30,000, 40,000 people. And then from there, we got to over 100,000 people. So just by default, there wasn't nearly as many people doing this workout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so we did it in 2011, 2012. I remember I improved from 2011 to 2012. I think I did 123 or 127 in 2011, and then 140 in 2012, which was 10th in our region. And I had beaten Noah Olson by 7 reps on that workout. How the times have changed.
Yeah.
So, so I went back and watched the old video of that workout the other day, and I posted it on my Facebook. That's hilarious. It really is. Like, what kind of pacing strategy I was kind of thinking of. I think I was just like, all right, I'm going to go unbroken on everything. So, definitely taking that into consideration when prescribing this workout for someone else. I did not do it today. I usually do it on Fridays, but yesterday I was fixing an assault bike, or at least trying to clean it, and my finger got caught between the chain and the spokes as I was moving the wheel to clean it, and I took you ever pop a grape? That's basically what happened in my thumb. So I've got 4 stitches, 2 of which are, I think, through my fingernail that are kind of reattaching the fingernail to my nail bed. But I'm lucky that I didn't lose my finger, because it could have been a lot worse. I mean, just thinking about Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, so I did not do it today.
How is it that you get a bigger bike injury than I do?
I know, silly. And the funny thing was, is I was sitting there and I was doing this like, don't let that happen. I was like, oh, okay. And then, of course, like, I just don't think for a second, and that's when it happens. It's like when you're driving down the road, you're like, all right, go down the road. It's just that one split second where you're not really paying attention, and then, shit happens. But I obviously when the workout came out, I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll probably be able to do this Monday if my finger is good enough, because I won't really have to grip too much. My thumb isn't too much of a dominant gripper on chest to bar pull-ups, like ring muscle ups and toast. Or if I had to hook grip a bar, I wouldn't be able to do it because it's on the top side of my fingernail. So, if I have to do it on Monday, I will. But again, like if I'm in danger of messing up my thumb drastically, I'm not gonna even play around with it. Just who cares?
Right. Yeah, it's not worth messing up your thumb and then being out for even longer.
So first things first, we look at the workout. Scott, you've seen this a couple times. What are your thoughts on the workout?
I mean, I like it. It's short and painful. It's kind of a domain that, favors some individuals that maybe some of the workouts we've seen wouldn't so much. Mm-hmm. So I think in some ways it might be fairer than some of the longer ones in just an overall perspective as far as the open went.
Yep.
And it's, being smart about your pacing. I mean, the first part is interesting because it sort of forces pacing a little bit just because you have to fraction on, for your 3s and 6s and 9s and make a transition. Mm-hmm. But you need to be quick on your transitions, quick on your breaks, break smart in the later sets, staying with a pace that you can hold. And don't think too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is much closer to the spectrum of classic CrossFit workouts where it's very high metabolic intensity, lower skill level. Those for some people, chest to bar pull-ups are a higher skill level movement. I think for the grand scheme of people, I think, at this point, chest to bar pull-ups, most people are proficient at them enough where they're going to get a good metabolic stimulus off of this. So this is 7 minutes of just, really going after it, depending upon the person, what kind of power output you can actually do. Whereas some of those workouts where it's like stage workouts, like the other two choices with the overhead squats, where you kind of have to kind of pace and just hold off. This one is where you might be able to just hold on to the handlebars and just scream for dear life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And I thought that the scaled version, having watched some groups do that today, it delivered a relatively similar stimulus, which was kind of cool.
Agreed.
Everyone's moving hard and they're pretty gassed at the end. So,
did you have any people in your gym be like, "Oh, I really don't want to scale to jumping pull-ups," or do you guys have people who are like, they understand the idea?
They understood the idea, yeah. Even there's like, I have one guy who's fully capable of doing lots of pull-ups. Not as good on chest to bar pull-ups, but he could have done it RX, but he would have gotten tripped up on, slowed way down on the pull-ups. But he went scaled and got waxed. So
yes. Yeah, so I had, I think, like maybe 3 or 4 do it as prescribed in the AM classes, but most people did it with the jumping pull-ups, and I let some people just do regular pull-ups, and if they we're going to do it scaled because they had the hard set on doing regular pull-ups. But for the people who are like, they have a few regular pull-ups, like, I usually do regular pull-ups. I'm like, nah, trust me. Like when you get to the round of 15, we'll talk. Because I think most people stay away from more easy type movements, I think inherently and subconsciously, because it allows them some kind of pre-organized rest because they have localized muscular fatigue that prevents them from dipping in very hard metabolically. But when you're doing jumping chin-ups or pull-ups and you're doing thrusters at a lighter weight, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, totally.
And at that point, as a coach, you're just really getting on them to get back on the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because, you can totally hide a little bit and, when you have to really start fractioning stuff up a lot. I mean, I can remember back in the day, I don't know why we were going to do Fran and, heart's pounding, I haven't started. And one of my buddies that I worked out with came in and says, "You want to do heavy Fran instead?" And I was like, hell yes, let's do heavy Fran. That's awesome. Because I know I'm going to get slowed down by those weights.
It's literally like, would you do it with 135?
135, and I think it was 45-pound dumbbell on the pull-ups, I think.
Yep. Basically just a strength workout.
Pretty much, yeah.
With a little bit
So
of
yes, I
metabolic
mean
component
definitely
to it.
somewhat metabolic. You
Yeah.
know, I was able to do like I can move through the pull-ups at 45 pounds reasonably fast, and I can gut out enough thrusters to not get too much rest. But
Yep.
yeah, it's not like the pain storm of Fran moving really fast
Yeah.
by any means.
So did you watch the ladies do it last night? We had
Yeah,
Katrin David's daughter, Sarah Sigmund's daughter, and Annie Thar's daughter all do it in Iceland. Did you you got a chance to watch it?
I did. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, it was pretty impressive. It was interesting. It was so much of the time they were just a few reps from each other, and just really separate a tiny bit at the end, but it still was really close.
Do you want to know
In the
something
grand
that's
scheme.
also super impressive? As great as those women did, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet did 175 reps in 2012.
Oh, wow.
And I believe
that is right. That's right. I remember that.
Looking at the score sheet here,
that workout.
She finished the round of 21, which was 68 reps, so that she did 7 extra in the round of the 24 thrusters.
24 thrusters. I remember that now. I'd forgotten. Yeah, and that was better than any of the male scores too, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly,
I think so. I think it was it was really, really good. Really, really good. And I think Talena might have finished second on that workout, Talena Sfortunato, but was like 20 reps behind that. Like this was Camille's workout. I know Josh Bridges did really well in that workout too. But
that would seem to be
I remember watching the video. I'm just like, what is going on right now? Like, how is this possible? Like, how is someone? Because after doing it, you're like, all right, 140, that's great, and then you see Josh Bridges do it, and you're like, what in the hell just happened?
How did that just
happen?
Yeah.
So let me just see real quick. In 2012. 2012, week 5, open week 5. I think the best was Rich Froning did 161. Neil Maddox did 158. I think this is 2012.
Yeah. I was thinking that Froning had won it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's a couple other guys, Danny Henry and Ryan Fisher. Danny Henry, who finished 2000th in the world, might have cheated that workout. We'll see. We don't fact check here at the conversations. Ryan Fisher out of the California Regional did very well. He did 162. Dan Bailey 156. So a lot of those classic names there. Marcus Philly did 155. But as good as those guys are, they got annihilated by Camille, who got 173. And then it was Talena at 160, Julie Fouché at 154. And then Annie in 2012 got 147 reps on that workout. So 147, and then this year got, pulling it up right now, 178. So 31 reps better. That's pretty impressive.
Pretty good.
It's pretty impressive. So she had 10 reps on the round of 24. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And all fairness to all the other gals there, Annie just looked very impressive throughout the entire workout. I thought her kipping pull-up technique was just far superior than the other ladies. She was able to sustain. She was able to kind of continue to push. And being ahead in a workout like that where you're going against 2 other women or 2 other athletes in particular, you can just kind of know exactly where you need to be and just stay right there, just a couple reps ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, very calculated. The years of experience show, very similar. How Froning used to kind of totally have an eye. He knew where everyone was at all times and exactly how hard he needed to work.
Very good point. It was pretty cool to see all 3 ladies juxtaposed together because you can really see who is more efficient at certain movements. You looked at Annie, whose feet are together on all of her pull-ups. She's getting a nice strong kip on every single one of her butterfly pull-ups. And then you have Katrin on the opposite side, who has to literally have her legs almost, I would say, outside shoulder width apart as her legs come back because she lacks hip extension that badly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's amazing that she still continues to do that much work with that poor movement pattern. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
when you look at her thrusters and stuff, she's literally staying upright with a, you know, arched back and getting full depth and then having to turn around and do those chest to bar pull-ups. But, you know, I think over the long term, you know, in general, I think, you know, the lack of hip extension and the massive amount of lordosis for an athlete like that is just going to eventually catch up to them.
eventually. Yeah. Yep.
Eventually, it
Yep.
has to. And I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. What is the long term longevity of these athletes once they get done with the sport, even if they ever get done with the sport? Because I know some of these people kind of hang on to this now that there's masters and that kind of stuff. But I kind of wonder what the longevity of some of these, especially female athletes, are because they're just so lat dominant.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we've definitely seen some individuals stay at the top for quite a while, but even some of the same thing with some of the male runs, you know, I don't know how people sustain that
Yeah.
level of output for like a decade or more in some cases, you know.
Yep. Um, but yeah, I thought it was very, very impressive from the ladies. I'm sure that they'll probably repeat this one just because they do it on Thursday night. They're home. It's not like they travel, you know, X distance.
Right.
So I'm not anticipating them not to redo it. And then the other reason why I think they would probably redo it is the fact that they went out at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I don't think any of them thought about pacing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They were moving quick at the beginning for sure. It almost looked like they were moving in unison on purpose on some of them. You know, there's a one point I think all threes butterflies were perfectly synchronized.
Yep.
It was like they're at the same spot.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens on the men's side of this. You know, it's 100 pounds, so it's 5 pounds more than what you would usually anticipate. It is what it is, right?
Right,
But
yeah, that first year of the Open, I remember they threw all kinds of unusual loads. Like they didn't use any of this classic 95,
yep,
135, right? We had that 145-pound power clean. We had the
yes,
100-pound thruster.
yep,
We had that was the year, I think, the 165-pound clean and jerk. It was a
yep.
shorty, like a
Squat
5
cleaning,
minute.
yep. Squat cleaning jerks,
Yeah.
5 minutes.
So, yeah, all the weights were weird. And there was something else. Maybe the deadlift at 155 was the only
Mm-hmm.
kind of not odd weight.
Odd, definitely odd. And you know, when you look at this workout, so I had Myra do it this morning, and you know, you have somewhere to go off of because I saw, you know, all the daughters do it yesterday. So I like kind of take that into consideration, take my own video into consideration. If I were to, you know, tell the ladies to pace those women to pace it in a certain way, I definitely wouldn't have had them pace it the way they did. You know, they came out way too hot, so I would say, okay, break it up after probably the round of 15 probably into two sets, so a lot earlier than where they wanted to go, and be more relaxed on their thruster pacing, and then, you know, just to kind of catch their breath there, because even though the chest to bar pull-ups are somewhat relatively easy for them, I think because of the total body movement and the fact that it is hands overhead makes it a little bit more challenging for them to actually get breath in as they're doing those reps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Myra did it this morning. I think she did 158, which was the round of, she was in the round of 21. Yeah, round of 21. She finished all 21 thrusters and then did 11 chest to bar pull-ups. So that was 18
Nice.
reps more than I did in 2012. We broke it up. I think she did the round of 12s unbroken. I didn't want her to do that, but she felt good enough where she was like, I'm doing 12. I was like, okay. And then from the 15, she started breaking it up in 8 and 7, and then did 8 and 7 on the chest to bar or something like that. And after the 15, she was hurting. And that was probably about 3 minutes in, I think, if I look at the clipboard here. She did the round of 15. She was done. She did the 15 thrusters at 2:38, and she was probably done at about like 3:30 for the chest to bars, maybe a little earlier. She finished
the halfway mark. Then, yeah.
She finished the 18 thrusters in 4:22. She did 9 and 9. That is where the workout gets the suffering, but that's where you have to go because that's where most of the reps are. That's
Right.
the challenge of the workout. You're not doing as much work in the beginning of the workout because you don't do stuff because you're transitioning also a little bit. It's like, think
Yeah.
about it this way. It's like, all right, you have a 100-meter pool and you have a 10-meter pool, right? I know, like, obviously pushing off, but like when you're actually doing the swimming, where are you going longer? You're going longer in the 100-meter pool because you're swimming that. Like, obviously you're pushing off the wall and stuff like that. Say you had to stop, turn around, and then swim again. Because you're stopping, turning around, and swimming, you're not actually doing work. You're not accumulating anything. So another way of thinking about it is like, would you rather run a mile on a track, or would you rather run a mile straight out? Just straight out in a long stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in that sense, a lot of the work is done after you're already fatigued, which makes it such a challenging workout. You've already done 3.5 minutes of high power work. It's like, all right, you got 3.5 minutes left of high powered work.
Yeah, and then more sustained of each thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
once
I
you're
think
already,
that's the way. That's exactly what I was getting at. It's more sustained on those individual movements. But I thought she did well. I mean, I think that's probably a good enough score for her to, solidify a spot at regionals. But we'll hit it again on Monday just to make sure that we've sucked every rep that we can out of this workout. I think if we did it again, we'll probably break up the reps a little earlier, maybe the 12s as well. Just because I think she was like had a hard time, I think, breathing through the work. So I think that's probably what we'll do.
Cool.
It was actually interesting. I saw you deadlifting the other day there, Scotty. What you were hitting some little deadlift, little explosive power stuff?
Yeah, that was actually a week ago. That was Friday's workout last week. It just took me that long to, patch it together. It's my about every 10-day heavy lift of some kind, and then some back off sets, significantly back off done for power, and I kind of pair it in with other high CNS stuff like my planche work.
Yep.
Little lateral explosive stuff, thick bar stuff is something I'm really kind of working on for my elbows for riding. Today will be something similar, but I won't do the heavy deadlifts. I'll do some of the single leg stuff and the rows and the planche.
Yep.
Planche stuff. I actually got one of the old early OGs of the Big Dog blog coming in to work out. He used to train here. He was a regional athlete here at one point, but he has a practice in a gym in South Carolina these days, and he's more of an Ido Portal disciple these days, doing handstand work and whatnot. So we're gonna get our training on here, and as soon as we're done with the call.
That's awesome, man. You guys do anything in particular?
Well, his brother's getting married, so yeah. I mean, he might be his planche day. I mean, I know that that'd be kind of fun. I just don't get to do a planche workout with someone ever, basically. Since the days when Ida was staying here.
Yeah, man.
I know he's just trying to hodgepodge some gym stuff together because he's going up on Mount Hood for his brother's bachelor party, and he's gonna train up there. He can do handstands and mobility, a lot of stuff without equipment. But
that's really cool.
Require rings or whatever in here.
Yep. One of the things that I was looking at in the video in particular, and because I've been looking at this in myself, is how we brace and how we get the breath in. And I've obviously have been dabbling in postural restoration for I don't know how long we've been working on that stuff. At least, when did you do your first postural restoration seminar?
I think it was 3 years ago now.
Yeah, so for at least 3 years, I've been playing around with that stuff. On my end, and it is a daily kind of thing. So it's not like I'm like, I pick it up, and a month later I put it back, I pick it up again. But one thing I observed, and I was looking at your video, and I kind of look at my stuff, is how we get the breath in, and if we do get a lot of upward movement of the rib cage during breath, right? And it may not manifest so apparently. It's not like you're tensing your neck muscles or something like that, but this subtle subclavius scalene, like it almost sounds like you're trying to hog air, like that stuff where your chest rises up. That subtleness is, I think, a huge part of of posture and of correct breathing patterns. And when I was doing some intervals the other day, I was on the assault bike and I noticed kind of that breathing pattern, and it kind of cuts off your breath a little bit. And then I really focused on relaxing my upper chest and neck and getting full deep breaths in. And one, it was a lot less restricted, but then two, I was able to kind of keep my rhythm on the assault bike, because when you start to breathe heavy, one of the things that restricts people from continuing to put out power is the fact that their rib cage comes up, and now they're kind of, it's like when you're running and you almost feel like you have to lean back every other breath. You know what I mean? Like you're putting the brakes on a little bit.
You can't get the, yeah.
So I was kind of noticing that all myself, and then kind of picking apart things like that. Do you ever consider that in any of your training, kind of keeping this stuff silent and more relaxed?
Yeah, in the mobility work, I'm definitely trending that. And then some of that is fairly high tension because it requires bracing. So that's where you can, because you're not attempting to manipulate a load or something so much, you can realize. And I know that I am still working on fixing some faulty breathing patterns. And probably I was not directly focusing on it too much during the workout. So it would be interesting to see what you noted there.
Yeah. I would say, like, as you're bracing, like, obviously your rib cage stays down, but if you feel like it's hard for you to keep your rib cage down and get a breath, it's most likely because this is trying to pull it up. So you're literally, you got your brace, you're on, your rib cage is down. And then as you breathe in, this has to shut off down here so that this can turn on to get your breath in. So you're using your neck muscles to breathe, to inhale, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really actually focusing on keeping your rib cage down. So I start with the exhale. Then I keep this feeling and then feel the air come in here. But I'm noticing if my almost like my collarbones come upward. So I'm here. And then I feel a nice circumferential breath, and then I don't feel nearly as much of that SEM scalene kind of kicking on as much.
Mm-hmm.
So something to consider, just play around with that a little bit and see if it helps get you a little bit more connected to the floor as you're doing it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out today. Yeah, good tip. I do remember, and I might have shared this many podcasts ago, but when I went to that original PRI seminar, it was in a physical therapy clinic, and they had giant, the whole front of what was made up as a classroom for the seminar was mirrors, because it was supposed to be the area where people are doing their exercises, like check form or whatever. And so basically, we sat there looking at the instructor, but then you could see all of us yourself, in the mirror. Well, I noticed, where I was kind of a sort of front row, and I noticed like my neck muscles looked like I was just about to lift a max deadlift all the time, and I could look around at everyone else's, and I was like,
yeah,
that must mean I have some really.
Well, you know what? I think for most other people that go to the seminars, they're not doing high intensity training. They're not doing really heavy lifting. They're probably doing, regular functional bodybuilding type stuff, maybe, or maybe not even working out at all. Maybe they just go run for every once in a while. But I think that right there, the recruitment of SEM, scalenes, and like upper, let's say pecs and clavius, that is something that most people have no clue that they're doing. And it is in connecting the dots from massage therapists and people in different fields. That's one of the areas that they always go to when they're working soft tissues. Like the first thing I look at is their neck. And I go, wow, that's so interesting. And I never really thought about it as their neck is being so overused as an accessory breathing muscle, it becomes a primary breathing muscle.
And that's why everyone's neck is always so jacked up.
Yep. And then from the neck to the jaw, from the jaw to everything else in the cranium and attention and all that kind of stuff, and then back through the neck as well. But just in like the little things that I've been doing, I've been dealing with a nagging scalene issue from workout 18.2. This is the way I'm also approaching a lot of injuries and stuff like that, is that if you have, let's say, a tweak, whether it's your elbow or your wrist or your neck or something like that, I am in the belief that if you're doing basic movement patterns, everything will heal on its own. If you are not doing a movement pattern that becomes pathological, or that is pathological, but has never been pathological because it's never been pushed to strain before. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that biceps tendonitis that flares up after you do, oh, I did overhead squats and I tweaked my shoulder. Oh, all right. Well, usually that goes away in a couple days. And then those couple days become a couple weeks, months. And it's like, oh, this isn't going away because you're never resetting the position to allow the body to just, you know, do its work, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that, just playing around with that idea.
Yeah, that makes some definite sense. I agree.
So we'll see how my neck progresses, but it's feeling a heck of a lot better over the last few days. And again, I think not poking at it and really just focusing on the quality of movement and the positions and stuff is very important. So
yeah,
Scott,
cool.
We made it through the Open.
Made it through the Open. I guess we'll have a wrap up next week. We'll know how it all went down. And
I think so.
Yeah.
But you got anything else there, Scott?
I think for today, that's probably a wrap.
Probably sufficient. Beautiful.
Got some stuff cooking for after the Open. We can get into probably.
Absolutely, Scott. We always got stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck with your thumb.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Sean. You can get me at Sean LaFlock. I'm Sean LaFlock. You can get me at Sean at CrossFitDelrabeach.com. Sorry, Scott.
I'm Scott Agnes. You can get me at Scott at CrossFitPortland.com.
All right, Scott. I'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Later, dude.
All right, later.